right, well, 2020 hopefuls are out with the new fourth quarter fundraising numbers they have to report, and Senator Bernie Sanders raised $34.5 million, which was leading the pack. Former Mayor Pete Buttigieg pulled in $24.7 million, and entrepreneur Andrew Yang took in about $16.5 million. And Rick Newman joins us now to break the numbers down. And I mean, Rick, when we look at it, it seems like just on paper, Sanders has a lot to be proud of here, the most money raised in any quarter so far.
It's not just on paper. I mean, it's the most any Democratic candidate has raised in this election cycle so far this year. So here's my Bernie Sanders style. He is unstoppable.
Right now,
I mean, it's just an incredible haul for Bernie Sanders. And this came after his heart attack. So I wonder if there was, he obviously recovered from the heart attack.
Yeah.
And he's been robust and energetic and apparently is healthy as ever. Certainly as wound up and angry as ever, as the doll gets it right. So maybe Bernie just got some sympathy. Of course, he's been doing pretty well in the debates. And Bernie Sanders is Bernie Sanders. I mean, there's no question of what he stands for. He doesn't flip-flop on his policies. Everybody kind of knows who he is. And I think even if you don't agree with his policies, his far-left policies, you appreciate the fact that he just stands for what he stands for.
Yeah, and he's been doing that for a while now. But when you look at it, outside of him, obviously President Trump is also raising a lot this and he kind of dwarfed Bernie Sanders. I know you got the doll here, but it dwarfed what Sanders got. He got 46.
He does dwarf Bernie Sanders.
$46 million. This is to scale now, the fundraising numbers. $46 million in Q4 for President Trump.
Well, so Trump is doing well, and he likes to say that he has benefited from impeachment, and they roll out these numbers that after such and such a hearing, big boost in fundraising.
Yep.
Okay, fine. But there's another way to look at this, which is the top 6 Democrats combined raised $125 million, and Trump, in the same period of time, Trump raised $46 million. So at some point in time, there's only going to be one Democrat running against Trump.
Sure.
And if the money keeps coming in at the same pace, but it's all going to one Democrat instead of being split among 6 or even more, Democrats look okay.
Yeah.
And just these two, Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, the leftist wing or the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, raised $55 million in the same period to Trump's 46. So $11 million more than Trump, just by those two leftist candidates. So I don't think the Democrats are really in dire straits at all.
All right, no need to panic just yet then.
So how has former Vice President Joe Biden, I'm assuming that's who this is because it doesn't quite look like him, but how did he fare in fundraising?
You sense a lack of verisimilitude in the Biden doll?
I'm like, is this him?
I can't.
Yes.
Yeah. Does it look like him?
Can't you tell by the shiny teeth?
Just old white guy.
Yeah, I don't know who else would be. But I mean, we're still waiting for some of these numbers to trickle in, right?
Yeah, but we have good ballparks on just about all of them. So Biden probably pulled in about $22 million. So again, Bernie Sanders at the top, $35 million. Amy Klobuchar of the top 6, probably only around $6 million. So Biden is doing okay. He's not crushing it.
Yep.
But the real story here is the decline of Elizabeth Warren. So she has dropped in the polls. She was close to front-runner status, let's say 3 months ago, October, and in fundraising as well. She has stumbled, so her fundraising is down, her poll numbers are down, $20 million in the quarter for her. That's enough for sure to stay in the race. And Biden at $22 million, enough to stay in the race. They're not crushing it, so they're gonna. That means they're gonna come up a little short on things like the number of campaign staffers they can send into far-flung districts to just get the vote out and stuff like that. But we still have
Rick,
at least 6 candidates hanging in here.
Can Elizabeth Warren reverse this downward trend? Or do you think at this point the momentum in the other direction is too
Her
great?
timing is terrible. So she peaks too early. I mean, these are the vicissitudes of a campaign.
Yeah.
She was looking really strong in October, and then Pete Buttigieg. I don't have a Pete Buttigieg doll, by the way. It's nothing against Pete. There is no good Pete Buttigieg doll. If anybody knows where to find one, send it. We need a Buttigieg, an Andrew Yang, and an Amy Klobuchar doll.
Well, I mean, you talk about Andrew Yang, too, and you talk about timing this stuff, too. I mean, he's raised more money every quarter in 2019.
So his timing is good. Pete Buttigieg's timing is good. So they're rising at the time that you want to be rising, which is we're now only about a little more than a month away from the first votes in Iowa and New Hampshire. So their momentum is timed correctly. Elizabeth Warren, just as she's going down at the wrong time. I think anything can happen. There can be those momentum shifters. A surprise strong showing by any given candidate in one of the 2 or 3 early states will get some more momentum behind them and more fundraising as well. But I think the overlooked factor here is Joe Biden is Mr. Slow and Steady.
Yes, a lot of people thought he would be gaffing his way out of the top.
He has not cratered the way some people thought or feared he would.
Yeah.
And I know Democrats have Biden anxiety, so every time he opens his mouth in a debate and he starts to,
Yes.
the way he kind of struggles to get his words out, you hold your breath. But he's actually done fine.
He has. He's
and the reporters following his campaign say he's more personable when he's just doing events with voters.
You didn't mention Bloomberg. I know he's not fundraising, but how does that play out? And he's basically got unlimited means to outspend any of them.
So I think the last polls I've seen show Bloomberg with around 7%. That's sort of in the Amy Klobuchar range or Cory Booker range, but he came up from 2% in a very short period of time. I mean, it says something that you can rise from 5 percentage points in a short period of time. He's not a front runner. I don't think the political analysts count him as a front runner, and I don't think he can just spend his way into the top tier of the race. But he has a different strategy. He's kind of trying stuff that hasn't really been tried before, which is don't worry so much about the early states, focus on other states where he thinks he might have a competitive advantage. He's visiting Virginia, for example, and other places like that.
Yeah.
And just spend. So he will make an impact, whether it's his own candidacy or he withdraws and he ends up being a big spender on behalf of other Democrats.
Yeah, and Julian Castro dropped out as well, so there's a lot of things to watch as we look at endorsements for those who might not be there at the final ballot. And where they put their support moving forward. But Rick Newman, thank you so much for breaking that down. Q4 fundraising. Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.